The first time anyone noticed the old woman, she was dragging a black suitcase through the rain at 2:13 in the morning. Not unusual in New York. What was unusual was the fact that the suitcase was leaking blood. And when a police officer stopped her near the subway entrance, the old woman looked him dead in the eyes and whispered, "You're already too late." By sunrise, 3 detectives were missing. And the city would soon learn the terrifying truth about 81-year-old Eleanor Graves. Rain hammered the streets of New York City like bullets from the sky. Officer Daniel Ruiz pulled his patrol car beside the sidewalk and rolled down the window. The old woman didn't even look at him. Thin gray hair, long beige coat, wrinkled hands gripping the handle of an enormous black suitcase. "Ma'am," Daniel called out. "You need help with that?" No response. He stepped out into the rain. "Ma'am." She slowly turned. Her pale blue eyes looked almost colorless beneath the streetlight. Then Daniel noticed the dark red liquid dripping from the bottom of the suitcase. His hand instantly moved toward his holster. "Open the suitcase." The old woman smiled. Not nervous. Not afraid. Just tired. "You don't want me to do that," she whispered. Daniel drew his gun. "Now." For 3 long seconds the woman stared at him. Then she leaned closer and quietly said, "He's awake." The streetlights suddenly flickered. Every single one. At the same time, Daniel stepped back. What the hell? The suitcase moved. Just once. A violent thud from inside. Daniel froze. His breathing stopped. Another thud. Then scratching. Something was alive in there. Dispatch crackled through his radio. "Unit 14, report your status." But Daniel couldn't answer. Because the old woman started laughing. Soft at first. Then louder. And louder. And louder. Until the sound echoed through the empty streets like something inhuman. The next morning, Detective Marcus Hale arrived at the crime scene. No officer. No old woman. No suitcase. Only Daniel's patrol car remained abandoned beside the curb. The inside of the vehicle looked like someone had tried to claw their way out. Deep scratches covered the windows. Blood stained the dashboard. But there was no body. Marcus stood silently while crime scene photographers moved around him. "What do we know?" he asked. Detective Sarah Bennett handed him a folder. Traffic cameras caught the woman entering the subway station under Lexington Avenue. Marcus flipped through the photos. The old woman appeared in every frame. But something felt wrong. In each image, her shadow looked different. Longer. Distorted. Almost human shape, but not quite. Marcus frowned. "Enhance this." Sarah zoomed in on one photograph. Marcus felt cold immediately. The shadow wasn't attached to her feet. It was standing several feet behind her, smiling. 3 hours later, Marcus and Sarah entered the abandoned subway tunnel beneath the city. The smell hit them first. Rotting flesh. Wet concrete. Rust. And something else. Something metallic. Like old blood. Flashlights swept across graffiti-covered walls. Then Sarah stopped walking. "Marcus." "What?" She pointed ahead. Suitcases. Dozens of them. Old black suitcases lined the tunnel walls like silent graves. Marcus slowly approached one. Tag attached to the handle. "Missing person 1998. Another. "Missing person 2003. Another. Marcus felt his stomach tighten. Every missing person case unsolved. Every victim vanished without evidence. "Until now," Sarah whispered. "Oh my God." A sound echoed through the darkness. Footsteps. Slow. Dragging. Marcus raised his gun. "Who's there?" The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then a voice emerged from the shadows. "You should not have come here." The old woman stepped into the flashlight beam. Eleanor Graves. Her clothes were soaked with blood now. But the strangest part, she didn't look 80 anymore. Her skin appeared tighter. Younger. Alive. Marcus aimed directly at her head. "Where are the missing people?" Eleanor sighed sadly. "You still think they're dead." Sarah moved closer. "What are you talking about?" Eleanor looked toward the darkness behind them. And smiled. "They're hungry." The tunnel lights suddenly exploded. Darkness swallowed everything. Then came the screaming. Not one voice. Hundreds. Marcus fired blindly. Gunshots thundered through the tunnel. Sarah screamed his name. Something grabbed him from behind. Cold hands. Too many hands. Marcus hit the ground hard. His flashlight rolled across the floor and illuminated them. People. Or what used to be people. Their bodies twisted unnaturally. Eyes completely black. Skin stretched tight over bone. Dozens of missing victims crawling across the walls and ceiling like spiders. Watching. Smiling. Marcus scrambled backward in horror. What are they? Eleanor's voice echoed calmly through the darkness. They were dying. One creature crawled closer. Marcus recognized the face immediately. Officer Daniel Ruiz. Except his jaw now hung unnaturally low. His fingers had become long broken claws. We saved them, Eleanor whispered. Daniel smiled. Then charged. Marcus woke up chained to a subway pillar. Blood dripped from his forehead. The underground chamber around him glowed with candlelight. And all around him, the missing people stood silently in circles. Watching. Breathing. Waiting. Sarah was chained nearby, unconscious. Eleanor sat across from him calmly drinking tea. Marcus struggled violently. What do you want? Eleanor looked almost offended. To survive. She stood slowly. In 1962, my son was dying from leukemia. Her voice cracked slightly. No hospital could save him. She walked toward the darkness behind the chamber. Then something found me beneath this city. A massive shape moved in the shadows. Marcus stopped breathing. Too large to be human. Too tall. Two glowing white eyes opened slowly in the darkness. Eleanor continued speaking. It offered me a deal. The creature stepped forward slightly. Its skin looked like moving smoke. Its limbs bent the wrong way. My son would live forever, Eleanor whispered. Marcus stared in horror. At the cost of others. Eleanor nodded once. One soul every few years. Marcus's face hardened. You murdered innocent people. No, Eleanor replied softly. I fed them to him. The creature smiled. And suddenly Marcus realized something horrifying. The creature's face looked exactly like Eleanor's son. Just older. Hungrier. Wrong. Sarah suddenly woke up screaming. The creatures around them began twitching violently. Eleanor turned. He's feeding. The monster lunged forward. Chains rattled. Marcus grabbed a loose metal shard near the floor and cut through one hand restraint. Sarah cried out, Marcus! The creature moved impossibly fast. One of the subway victims was dragged screaming into the darkness. Crunching sounds followed. Bones snapping. Wet tearing noises echoed through the chamber. Marcus finally broke free. He grabbed Sarah's chain and unlocked it. Run! The entire underground exploded into chaos. The creatures shrieked from every direction. Marcus and Sarah sprinted through the tunnels while pale hands clawed at them from the darkness. Behind them, Eleanor screamed, You can't escape him! Suddenly the tunnel collapsed. Concrete crashed down. Dust filled the air. Marcus grabbed Sarah just before debris crushed them. Then silence. Complete silence. The creatures were gone. Eleanor was gone. Only darkness remained. 2 weeks later. The city sealed the abandoned subway line permanently. Official reports blamed everything on underground gas explosions. The missing detective files disappeared. And Marcus Hale resigned from the police force. But every night, at exactly 2:13 a.m., Marcus wakes up sweating after hearing the same sound outside his apartment door. A suitcase dragging slowly across the hallway. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Last night, he finally looked through the peephole, and standing outside his door was Officer Daniel Ruiz, smiling, holding a black suitcase, and beside him, 81-year-old Eleanor Graves whispered softly, We saved a place for you. Then the hallway lights went out, one by one, until only darkness remained, and from inside the suitcase, something started scratching.